Good YouTube, it's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV. So I'm back with another one. So I want to talk about this Manny Pacquiao versus Vasyl Lomachenko fight coming up in November. If you didn't know, now you know. You know, apparently Manny Pacquiao and Vasyl Lomachenko came to some agreement that they'll fight in November. Um, uh, Pacquiao still has a fight coming up in April. He's going to fight on Terence Crawford card. I don't want to say undercard, so to speak, but we know he won't be the main event on that fight, so it would pretty much going to be an undercard type of deal because he won't be the main event. Terence Crawford versus Jeff Horn is going to be the main event, um, and that's April 14th. I believe Manny Pacquiao. They said the front runner in the fight to fight Manny Pacquiao was going to be Mike Alvarado, and then they said that in November it's a verbal agreement to take on Vasyl Lomachenko, Manny Pacquiao versus Vasyl Lomachenko at 140 pounds. This has been confirmed by Freddie Roach himself as well. So barring something catastrophic happens or one of the fighters lose badly and have to have a rematch, maybe Manny Pacquiao loses to Mike Alvarado. Who knows? Nobody knows. You know, maybe he loses that fight to Mike Alvarado and has to have a rematch. So we just never know, especially in the sport of boxing. Anything could happen. November's a long ways away. So yeah, that's pretty much what that's about. So, but I wanted to talk about that fight and Mike Alvarado fight. You know, my only issue with Manny Pacquiao fighting Vasyl Lomachenko and already having a agreement set in place is that let's say Terence Crawford gets past Jeff Horn. If he gets past Jeff Horn, then why Manny Pacquiao won't be taking on uh, Terence Crawford. It's like, they clearly avoiding Terence Crawford, so that's my only issue with that. Because if Jeff Horn was to beat Terence Crawford, we could bet our dollar that Manny Pacquiao will be taking on Jeff Horn in a rematch to get his titles back. Now, let's say Terence Crawford beats Jeff Horn and wins those titles. Manny Pacquiao is going to stay far away from Terence Crawford, so we already know what that is. It's a clear duck, you know. And then Vasyl Lomachenko as well. You have to say Vasyl Lomachenko as well duck Terence Crawford because he said that Terence Crawford was too big. Bob Arum said that Terence Crawford was too big. This is when Terence Crawford was at 140 pounds. So now you're going to have Vasyl Lomachenko go up to 140 pounds. It's okay for him to go up and fight at 140 pounds against a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao. And you're going to consider him number one pound for pound in the world. But it wasn't okay for him to go up to 140 pounds and take on Terence Crawford, who was right there in the division, who was at 140 pounds and he's at the top of his game. He's a young bull at the top of his game. So I guess Terence Crawford being a young bull and being at the top of his game, it's too much for Vasyl Lomachenko. It's pretty much saying that, it's them admitting that Terence Crawford is too good for Manny Pacquiao and Vasyl Lomachenko. So that alone lets you know that Vasyl Lomachenko is not number one pound for pound in the world. Number one pound for pound in the world is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford also called out Errol Spence. I made a video about that. Check that video out. His trainer said that they're gonna rip Errol Spence a new asshole, and Errol Spence is the boogeyman of I want to say around 100 between 140 to 154. Now I'm not saying that at 154 he's the actual boogeyman because those Charlo boys is something else, man. Those dudes is a force to be reckoned with. They serious. You know what I'm saying? So, but Errol Spence is the boogeyman. Even the Charlos give him his props when they train with him. They train with him, they spar with him. They say, they getting top notch sparring. They getting the best sparring in the world because they sparring Terence Crawford. I mean Errol Spence. So that lets you know a lot because they're 154 and 160 pounders. So they saying that they getting top notch sparring because they sparring Errol Spence. Now I'm saying those to say is that Terence Crawford is calling out Errol Spence. He going to the bully, unlike Keith Thurman, who seems like he don't want to fight. Although I'm gonna make a video about that because I think that Keith Thurman might have ulterior motives. I think he could be trying to play, trying to put himself in a position like he's Floyd Mayweather, trying to make people hate him, dislike him, make himself disliked, to get more money, the more people dislike you, the more money you get because they pay to see you lose. So maybe he's trying to take that route, in a subtle way. He's trying to do it that people don't hate him, but people are not liking the moves that he's making and how he's going about it. So, you know, maybe that's the reason why Keith Thurman is taking that route. But back to this Manny Pacquiao situation, Manny Pacquiao versus Vasyl Lomachenko. I think it's going to be a good fight. So it's going to be at 140 pounds, 140-pound catch weight, and then you're going to have. But my issue, like I said, is that Terence Crawford is going to be if he defeats Jeff Horn. You would think that 147-pound Manny Pacquiao would take the fight. Seeing, let's say he gets past Mike Alvarado. He gets past Mike Alvarado. You would think that it's only right for Terence Crawford to fight Manny Pacquiao. You would think that would just make all the sense in the world, but it would make too much sense because we all know how they look at Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford being on the coincidental list. Manny Pacquiao is not going to get scrutinized like a Floyd Mayweather or somebody else that would have did this. He's actually going to go down and fight a smaller man. I don't know. I think that maybe Freddie Roach and Manny Pacquiao may be overlooking terms Vasyl Lomachenko. I think that they might be underestimating Vasyl Lomachenko due to the fact that they feel like Vasyl Lomachenko is too small for them. So I think that they may be overlooking Vasyl Lomachenko. And me personally, I think the more I watched highlights of Vasyl Lomachenko, and I watched a couple of his fights between over these last since yesterday. I want to say since this fight has been formally announced. I've been watching Vasyl Lomachenko's fights, and I think that Vasyl Lomachenko is going to give Manny Pacquiao a lot of problems. He's going to give Manny Pacquiao struggles with movement. Manny Pacquiao is at his best when he has a fighter, pardon me moving the camera, but Manny Pacquiao is at his best when he has a fighter that comes straight forward and the fighter's right there in his face. So I personally think that Vasyl Lomachenko is going to beat Manny Pacquiao. And him beating Manny Pacquiao, he's going to get more just due, and more praise when he beats Manny Pacquiao than Floyd Mayweather did. Even though the fight between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather was a lackluster fight, it didn't live up to the hype. But that was because people was building Manny Pacquiao up to be the fighter to dethrone Floyd Mayweather and knock Floyd Mayweather out. And all the people that hate Floyd Mayweather, was jumping on that bandwagon and saying, yeah, this is the dude to do it. This is the guy to knock him off the hill. So everybody was praising, everybody was jumping on that bandwagon. And so the fight could never live up to the hype that it was built up to be. Because Floyd Mayweather is not that type of fighter. So that fight was destined to be lackluster. It was destined to be a drag in the eyes of most, especially in the drag in the eyes of the decafs and people that just wanted to see Floyd Mayweather lose because, they was just in it to see Floyd Mayweather lose, period. They wasn't in it to see a great fight. They was in it to see Floyd Mayweather lose. They wasn't in it to see a good fight. So I think that Vasyl Lomachenko is going to get way more praise. He's going to get way more just dues than Floyd Mayweather did for beating Manny Pacquiao. He's going to beat a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao. And I think that his footwork, I think that it's going to tell a lot to see. See, the thing is, they building up the fight. Mike Alvarado is a come-forward type of fighter. Mike Alvarado is not a slick fighter. He's not a boxer. He's a come-forward type of fighter. He's been in wars with Brandon Rios. So, you know, he's going to be right there for Manny Pacquiao to hit. He's going to be available to be hit. His defense is lackluster. We saw what Juan Manuel Marquez did to Mike Alvarado. You know, and Juan Manuel Marquez is not a pressure fighter. He's not he's a counterpuncher. He's a defensive counterpuncher. Juan Manuel Marquez is. So, and we saw what he did, and that was years ago. You're talking about years ago that Juan Manuel Marquez did that to Mike Alvarado. So here goes the buildup. So I'm here to let y'all know. See, this is the setup. So now Manny Pacquiao is going to look great against Mike Alvarado, but instead of him taking on Terence Crawford, he's going to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. So you know the buildup is going to be Manny Pacquiao is back. You know the action-packed Manny Pacquiao is back, and you know. You know, he's dominant again. You know, he's back at the top of his game, and now he's going to take on the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And Vasyl Lomachenko is going to be taking on the most dangerous fighter he's ever fought. You know, and all these things, man. That's what's going to take. That's what's going to happen. You know, and it's going to be built as, you know, so Vasyl Lomachenko beating Manny Pacquiao. It's going to get all types of praise. You know, so but me personally, I do believe that Vasyl Lomachenko at one point, when it was first thought of, I had Manny Pacquiao winning this fight. But now I think about it, and the more I watch Vasyl Lomachenko, and the more I think about Pacquiao struggling with movement, I believe that Vasyl Lomachenko is going to win this fight. I think it's set up for the pickings, and I think it's set up for him to be built up as the next greatest thing. You know, they already build him up as like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, you know, this is just going to add to it, man. It's just going to add to it, man. It's going to just build, you know, the mountain is just going to get bigger, the Vasyl Lomachenko mountain, man. They already saying he's greater than Floyd Mayweather. He's greater than Muhammad Ali. He's greater than Sugar Ray Leonard. So him beating Manny Pacquiao and frustrating Manny Pacquiao, you know, that's just only going to add to it, man. That's going to validate for the decaps, you know. But I do think that Vasyl Lomachenko is going to beat Manny Pacquiao. So that's all I got for y'all, man. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. And hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Blue Blood Sports TV, man. Make sure y'all holler at me. Peace.
Now look at me. I'm a boss like my nigga.